the mission to keep as many men on as many guns for as long as possible. We called him Doc. Welcome to Combat Vet Vision. And now your host, Aaron Chief Seabird.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Combat Vet Vision. Hey, this week's show is Humbled Abilities. Just to give you an insight, I'm combat vet. I'm lucky to be alive after being hit with a mortar round April 2006. Took over 100 pieces of shrapnel. Had my last rites read to me. I am on life number 2, and I do this because it means something to me. I also do this because it's my personal beliefs. It's my personal stories. It's my personal this. And I say that in the most humbling ways because there is some amazing things that I am part of. There are some amazing programs that I utilize. There are some amazing organizations doing incredible things. And I don't think we talk about the cross mixing of some of these organizations, some of these guys. And I think most of it is based off of politics, personal feelings, um, funding, perhaps, all these different things. But I'm not so concerned about all those things as much as I'm concerned about taking care of some combat vets, and also utilizing some of these resources that I send guys to for myself. And do they always work out the way that they worked out for me? And the answer is no. Not all the time do veterans get that fair share. I think, or fair greeting or support. Sometimes I think that support sometimes gets mixed up sometimes, and I'm not going to say if that's all the case, but most of the time, I like to be where the rubber hits the road. Meaning, I want to talk to a vet. I want to go through some things with them. I want to talk about their mindset. I want to just enjoy the genuine conversation that I'm about to have. And also, I have to, in order to do that, sometimes it requires a lot of mind milling and concentration and understanding and patience. But it also speeds up the adrenaline rush, and the interaction sometimes can be life and death, and you just don't know. You don't know until that person might have told you, say, hey, if I didn't have that conversation with you, I would not be here right now, or something of that nature. And so when that happens, it just takes a moment for you to realize, like, wow, it's an important thing. It's an important conversation. It's an important piece of support. And I posted on a lot of my social media, a lot of the pictures, and I will be posting it on a lot more um, as my mind kind of comes together with some of these other organizations that maybe aren't on the surrounding frame. If you look at my picture of Combat Vet Vision with Warrior Built PTSD Foundation highlighted, Operation Silver Stars in there, so many other organizations. Shelter for Change was something me and Andino talked about last week with Chris Rohagi passing away. Um, by the way, his family, his daughter will be on for sure next week. She's planning on being on here. So if that all works out, I'm not going to say for sure, but she's going to talk about Shelter for Change. She's going to talk about some personal uh, things with her dad and how things went, to lose him. We talked about that a little bit. Um, and that was an important piece, a lot of important pieces. And a lot of times I have to reach out now and reach out to new support that sometimes when I talk to them, whether it's even, TRICARE sponsored or some of these other ones that aren't necessarily nonprofits, but I'm highlighting the nonprofits, and I'm going to talk about them in a lot of ways. I'm also wanting to talk to our sponsors and get their input in here. I'd love to have some sponsors on here, and we have a ton of sponsors throughout a lot of different organizations that can talk about a lot of different reasons why and how involved they are or aren't. Sometimes they don't need to be involved if they're sponsoring it just because they want to believe in a program, and that's something that's really cool. A lot of times, I love to show off the Warrior Built facility, the PTSD Foundation, Southern California chapters area in there where we get to sit around and have a conference and have our warrior groups on Tuesday nights, or come together as a bunch of veterans and just tool around and fix the machete, the bug that's the class 11 that races, or the motorcycle that's racing in the Baja 1000. And there's just so many other parts to it. The gym that's in there, or the gyms that sponsor and support us, Metroflex being one of the really cool ones that's right down in Marietta. Totally awesome gym. But that's a sponsor deal. When you talk about the nonprofits that are in the arena that I can reach out to, that I know them, I know somebody personally that's going to make a difference for somebody, and maybe it's not going to work. And it's the same with jobs. I mean, every veteran comes in, and I don't think, I think once we go to combat, and I think, we're all moving forward, and I'm going to say this because most of the time when you go to a unit, when you see any amount of, Marines, sailors, airmen, Army, you name it, and now Space Force. When you see that, usually it's a mass bunch of guys together in a formation, and the formation always looks impressive. And the reason why it's impressive is because everybody's doing the same thing, same way, in the same amount of time, in the same exact movements for the most part, and hopefully they're in step. But that's the way it works, right? We all go to war. We all have this plan to move together as a solid unit against an enemy, foreign or domestic. But we all plan to do that. Well, when you get blown up, when you get shot, when you get injured, you're treated as an individual as specific as possible to your injury, which means you're no longer in the same boat or the same movement for the day as everybody else. You're not going to go to the gas chamber anymore with a bunch of guys. You might train together, you might stretch together, you might do yoga together, you might do some things that are therapeutic effect. And this is why when I went to Wounded Warrior Battalion West, which is owned by the Marine Corps, a unit that was established in 2007, it was built in 2006, established in 2007, a battalion was born. And it was born by unveiling colors. So no longer is it present colors, it's unveil colors, and boom, a battalion is born. How cool is it to see that happen? Way cool. Because battalions were born a long time ago, but Wounded Warrior Battalion West was born not so long ago. And when you get to see that, it now there was a lot of growing pains. There was a lot of, how are we going to do this all together? And it just wasn't like that. This doctor requires this. So what happens is each person gets personalized care, personalized courses of action, personalized time hacks, hopefully personalized mental health care, and also convincing them to move in that direction. Just like everyone's up in arms about the COVID shots. Do they work? Do they not? What are they going to cause? The DNA, all this other crazy stuff that's going on. I've been taking shots my whole career. All of a sudden, I'm going to say no to this shot. You now have the right to say no, which all along you always have the right to not get your medical care, which is kind of strange because every other order can be lawful, can be, uh, a true order, but you can't order someone to get medical care. You can, but it's not right. It doesn't work out that way. Medical care is a personal deal, so you can resist it. But at Wounded Warrior Battalion West, you're there for the medical purpose of whatever it was. And I got to see this whole thing roll out. I got to see all these nonprofits pour in there. I got to see this really cool blanket of support in so many different ways that each individual seemed to get a little bit of something that they needed. And they also learned a lot about themselves, about their injuries, about how to necessarily navigate systems and how to utilize different systems, and there's so many pieces of this. And, my mind kind of went on this because I'm part of this Mission Alliance deal that's about ready to kick off. This is a study on veterans, on how we, during COVID, how did we deal with COVID with veterans that are dealing with PTSD. And so this thing's going to kick off kind of like this catalyst of questions that I actually get to be part of. I get to create some of these questions. I get to help understand this with 8 other individuals as we go through this 16-month questioning of 5 or 6 different questions through this Mission Alliance initiative. And that's also on my it's on my poster. But I've done another study before, that was how we as how we as veterans want to receive our medical information, and it was just like personal information as well as broadband. Hey, here's what's good for your health kind of information. Um, so these studies I think are super important because it's going to capture some insight to aid individuals that may be isolated and dealt with PTSD and had to deal with COVID, and what these kind of thoughts bring. Um, so the reason why that's interesting is because that's guys that are going to choose to take that on. It's kind of like a deal for them to think about these processes and give some true information on how they dealt with it and what's going on. But each one of those guys are going to have their own opinions. They're going to have their own set of circumstances that added up to whatever answers they're going to give. And a lot of that goes in hand with job opportunities that come my way all the time too, from different organizations, different things that sometimes are unexpected. But not always do you have a bunch of veterans that are just waiting for whatever job comes, especially after going to combat. And the mindset on that is we went to combat. We did the most grandest, craziest thing possible. And it's hard to find a stimulation when you get back to something that's going to be passionate enough to carry you on through whatever else you're going to do in life. And maybe that's easy for some, and maybe it's still a challenge for others, but you just don't know. And you don't know which guy's going to want this or want that. But I really like to put the word out, say, hey, this is what's going on. And this is an opportunity for you. Along my mindset of things that I see, housing's difficult. Housing's very difficult. Um, but there's a great housing facility down in San Diego, the Warrior Foundation, that has some options for guys that are going to do some transition. Now, those transitions require a lot of different things and a lot of different standards to get people on their feet as they're transitioning out before they move on with whatever they're going to do in life. It's at a discounted rate for the San Diego area, which is really great. Some awesome things going on there. And I just want to, tip my hat to retired Lieutenant Colonel Martin, Greg Martin, who is doing an awesome job of taking these guys out on some really cool outings as well, and keeping them focused on, doing what's necessary to keep them, in their either in their jobs that they're doing or in their college or whatever they're pursuing, while they're getting this great discounted house. Um, and so there's all these different programs that are out there as well. There's a farm that if you want to go to, I have I actually call him the grandfather of Wounded Warrior Battalion West, and he he's the reason why it was started, and that's Tim Maxwell, who's out in Virginia with his Semper Fi farm. That if you want to get out there, you can go out there. You can work on his farm for a couple of weeks or get your mindset. He'll take care of you in a lot of different ways and throw you up in some housing and give you an opportunity to work his land. I think you may even be able to hunt part of his land. I mean, there's some really awesome things that exist out there. If you ask those questions, if you're just curious enough to be involved in your life a little bit, and maybe you're not there, maybe you need further help, maybe you need further support, and you need to go to Camp Hope in Texas, and you need to be part of the PTSD Foundations program of, it used to be 4 to 6 months, but now it's even extended more. It's like 6 to 8 months in Camp Hope in Houston, going through this process of getting yourself, mindset wise, of not being so dependent on drugs, alcohol, and all the different things, the peer-to-peer mentor support, using the combat trauma healing manual, spending your time maybe getting in touch with your spiritual side a lot more, and being part of yourself in a way different way that you might have expected. You're there for the PTSD side of things, even though you're dealing with drugs, alcohol, substance abuses, what have you, but you're pushing in a direction that you need to go. And sometimes that's really hard to do. Sometimes you just get cold feet about it. Whatever you're doing out there that's really being destructive to yourself. And this is a series that we're going to start too coming up. There's a lot of things we do as combat vets that we need in our lives sometimes, that it just seems like, why does that happen? Why do you need why do you need this uh, this chaos? And we're going to start a series in the next couple weeks on that, and talking to my guest last week, um, Timothy Yates, who actually started talking about that a little bit. And I think it was like a really cool thing that he wanted to kind of say. And so in the next couple of weeks, when I get him back on, we're going to kick that off, and we're going to have that, kind of be an ongoing deal, just like the brotherhood, and why that's an important thing to us as well, with Michael Amato. Um, there's so many other cool things that that really kind of put me in a boat where I just feel like, hey, I'm just happy to be a guy that's able to be this guy that a lot of different things come to. I sort it all out, and I try to give that out to the person that might need it, or I try to talk to people that might want it or need it. And sometimes it just isn't there. Sometimes there's no reason to talk about that. But in my day to day conversations with everybody, someone says something, and then I'm like, hey, let me connect you with this and see where that leads to you. With Maurice Garcia, he's been on here too. Veterans helping veterans, helping people out with their VA benefits. Anna Curtis was on here at some point too, talking about her support for this as well. Um, Now she's working down at the Warrior Foundation, doing some incredible things for the veterans there. Um, but these are like people that I talk to, that I go to, and I say, hey, can you help this person? Can you help me? And a lot of them have. Ever since I got blown up in 2006, and I I couldn't do what I used to do. I just put on the uniform every day, and was different, and had to go to therapy. I had to go to the underwater treadmill at Tri City Wellness Center, which is awesome support through an organization that pro bonoed that for Wounded Warrior Battalion West guys, and then Wounded Warrior Battalion West modeled their Hope and Care Center off of that whole deal, and they actually brought the underwater treadmill to Camp Pendleton at Wounded Warrior Battalion West, as well as Wounded Warrior Battalion East. Also, I believe got the underwater treadmill as well, which is such an incredible thing because you're running on this treadmill. You can have 4 people on it, multiple different things. And the jet system just totally massages your body while you're doing this. So if you have injuries that don't allow you to do some of these things, you can walk on this thing. You can do things that when you get out, you might have the ability to move your body in a different direction or some other way. So when I look back at all these incredible things that have really helped me, my injuries, with all the shrapnel, with all the things, I got a hernia that I'm always dealing with. I got all these different things, but I don't always want to be a victim. And all week long, I surround myself in this in this catalyst of support to talk to different guys for different reasons. And there's some I can't keep up with because I think I track about 350 combat vets in my phone. I think I talk to consistently. I talk to about 50 different guys throughout the weeks, and those guys, are the guys that I work with because they're available. I'm available. These things kind of work out, but all of them have the opportunity to get a hold of me. And I put this information out through a whole bunch of different ways. Social media, thank goodness for that. Through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, uh, Messenger. In Messenger, I started a group called Warrior Group, just to pass information because the algorithms in Facebook sometimes don't. You may not see my post, or I may not see your post. But if I do, I want to make a comment on your post and just kind of say, hey, thanks for what you're doing, because that's what I've started to do. And hopefully it makes a difference. And that in return, that organization may reach out to me and say, hey, here's what I got going on. Here's the support I offer. Boom, boom, boom. And this thing kind of works out because there's some resources I have, some that I don't, some that I wish that existed, but I don't have the time or the desire to start another organization. But I definitely love, what Warrior Built brings to the table is vocational recreational support. This awesome platform for that. PTSD Foundation brings to the table this whole peer-to-peer mentorship, and this whole facility in Camp Hope, which is a 5-acre facility with apartments for the guys. It can hold about 110 different guys. It sits at about a capacity of about 75 to 85 consistently, and it has been to its fullest capacity during COVID, which really caused a lot of backups, a lot of problems. And even now during COVID, with the COVID kicking off so fast and people just getting it, they've had some issues with that as well. So, but it's a facility where you're going to go and live, and you got to hopefully make it through and do this whole lively thing. You don't want COVID to be a problem when you're trying to deal through PTSD. So they're minimizing the extent of that. But to have those organizations as my bread and butter, it definitely helps me out. But there's all these other organizations that have some really cool stuff too, and I don't want to leave them out. And I'm tired of seeing so many organizations being so linear. Like, hey, here's the organization, and here it is. But they don't say that they're part of all these other organizations. And I'm going to broaden that out. I'm going to broaden it out. I'm going to broaden it out in the sense that I'm Combat Vet Vision doing this, and but I am associated with so many organizations, and I belong directly to the PTSD Foundation of America and Warrior Built. Those are the ones I definitely am. And Operation Silver Star, which is funds for our veterans that are dealing with immediate needs, kind of thing. And I'm on their board trying to help them out as well. So I'm part of a lot of things. I believe in a lot of things, but I love to reach out to these organizations that are doing some incredible things. So look for my poster. Look for my. It may change a little bit because as I remember, I mean, even Semper Fi Fund on there was on there today, and I needed to change it because Semper Fi Fund combined with America's Fund. So it covers the Army and the Marine Corps, and so it's the Semper Fi America's Fund now, and it has one emblem with American with a flag like design, and so I put that one instead of the Semper Fi Fund where it's holding the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. So I updated that. I added 2 other ones that were on my mind today too. Patriot Hockey was one of them that has done some stuff for our guys, and they offer some hockey training, some hockey cool stuff for the guys in Southern California area. So there's just like so many different ones that I could talk about, that are mill vet sending packages across overseas to our to the guys going overseas still, and doing so many incredible things there. And they're always there for us if we need them too. And they've helped the Warrior Built and PTSD Foundation out with some chairs and some other things in the past. But there's all these different incredible organizations doing incredible things, and I don't even know about some of them yet, and I don't know about some of you guys out there that are doing stuff. But I'm trying to keep my eye on it. I'm trying to keep my eye, and if I could send one person there that says, "Hey, I went through this event. It was absolutely amazing. It was worth it. Blah blah blah. These guys did this, this, and that." Then I want to make a difference, and I want to pop it on my catalyst because it's something that I've sent somebody to. It's something that I've talked directly to, a resource to that, and it makes a difference. So that's what I'm looking. That's what I'm looking to do to kind of highlight some of these things in my journey as I do my podcast, as I do anything that I'm doing at Warrior Built, the PTSD Foundation of America, all these cool events and different opportunities. I will say it's really awesome to see the PTSD Foundation of America trying not only growing in a lot of ways, but it's also expanding its leadership down in a way that seems like it's really coming out really awesome. And it's good to know that they've got my back on a lot of these angles that I'm bringing up, and I really appreciate that. Warrior Built as well. Warrior Built's been a catalyst to reach out to a lot of different organizations. Nick Ham started that, the Warrior Built Foundation. He's the president, and he's running a great organization there, and he's pushing for a lot of these guys to get help through a lot of different ways. He believes in helping our guys out, and he has a good idea on a lot of different avenues, even ones he didn't know that the guys wanted to start. And it's it's interesting because vocational recreational support, it can lead to all kinds of different things. Fishing trips that we've done, um, the softball team that started up, uh, that's playing, pretty well now. I mean, our first season was really horrible. It was really scary, but now they're competing for first and second place at the end of every year, at the end of each season, and then jumps right into the next season. So you guys don't miss a beat. They get to be part of something that's amazing, and it's their thing. It's the avenue that they wanted to go, and they're maybe some of them are just playing softball, but a lot of them come into Warrior Built for other things as well. So some really cool things. But hey, I just wanted to put that out there. I wanted to say, hey, take a look at my poster and see it, and understand that each time that somebody needs something, I'm trying to reach out in some way, not just to those are all the nonprofits. I can't even express to you the amount of businesses or people that I know on that range, where I don't like to use that route too often, but I will reach out to business owners that or those guys that really will say, hey, you know what, let me fund this if you absolutely need it. um, but I don't reach out to those things because a lot of times there's a lot of people out there that want to help with a lot of different things, and I can't take, at one point it was going to end up with, like, I don't know, 200 or 300 boxes of shirts or t-shirts and hats and all kinds of crazy stuff, and we didn't have the facility for that, and nor did we have the means to get rid of it or dispense it or any of that. So it's kind of like, hey, if you said, I thought you said 40,000 shirts, not 40,000. Yeah, not 40. I was looking at one too many zeros. 4,000 shirts, not 40,000. So when you look at that kind of stuff, I have to say no. But let me see if there's a facility that can hold that, and we can see what we can do with it, or something like that. But it's very difficult for us to kind of manage all those things, and that's not really what I want to manage. I want to manage the combat vets and really give them uh, the benefit of a quality of life for them, a direction that they want to go, a passion that they need to have, and support where they need it. And it's not always where you think they need it. It's not always where I think or whatnot. And sometimes I have to readjust and change my views, and I have to learn the puzzle pieces. And I've talked about that, how I might hear something from this guy, that guy, and finally I get the aha moment that allows me to say, hey, this is where this might be beneficial, and I might be able to finally articulate the thought process or help the veteran out because I got the aha moment from that veteran. But hey, I just wanted to put that out there. Please, please, please take a look at my poster. If you like it, put a like on it. If you see it, say something about it. If you don't like it, tell me that too. Um, I usually try not to take things personal, but I have a habit of kind of doing that a little bit because this is my life. This is what I do. This is where I live. This is how I live. So I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank sitchradio.com for even putting this out. I mean, this is another catalyst for me to get the word out, for me to help the veteran out, for me to educate the public and give that opportunity a spin. People will be like, hey, what is this all about? What does he do? And I'm humble in the sense that I don't really do that much. I only do as much as I can because otherwise I'll be too overwhelmed, and I can't go to every trip. I can't go to a lot of these events. I can't, but I can listen to those that do now. And I did go to a lot of events in the past, but now, my phone's ringing a lot. I'm dealing with a lot of things. I get a lot of texts and calls and support, and I want to be there for that. So if I can send somebody that can vouch for it, then we'll work on putting it out there too. So, but thanks for all your support. Thanks for everything you do. Hey, this is Aaron Siebert, retired Navy Chief. Lucky to be alive. Until next time, strength and honor. Out.